Right. So good evening, guys. Jihan is joined. Yeah, I think others having classes today. So anyway, we'll start today's session. Uh, record this and especially I hope to conduct your monthly test this week, but I had to postpone it to next week because like from sixth unit also I plan to include there, but couldn't do it because of Vesak. That's why I plan to do that, but anyways, like I couldn't do that. Anyway, we'll do this cover up session today. So we have to cover the unit 6, right? Unit 6 here, mainly it's a bio lesson, right? So your first lesson also bio lesson. I think I'm audible for you. If not, just update me. Please. Not because today is a new place. I'm checking the stability of this. So if you if you can't hear, just me. I think you can hear, right? Jehan, can you just if it is okay or not? Just put chat, yes or no. Hello. Just tell me whether I'm audible for you or not. Tell me, it's like put in the chat. I think it's better. Right. Okay. So here I'm. Okay. Then yeah, I'm sharing a PowerPoint presentation. So I make this using AI. So just to give you uh some intro for here. So this is the lesson, right? Structure and functions of the plant and animal cell. So cell is what is cell? Cell means what? Cell is the structural and functional basic structural and functional unit. Basic basic structural and functional unit, right? So ඊට වඩා පල්ලෙහාට යන්න බෑ කියන්නේ ඒක තමයි basic level එක. We can see the organelles, nucleus, those organelles inside the cell, but life එක කියන එකේ basic structural unit එක වෙන්නේ cell එක. Right? Again, within the cell, if you consider a cell and a human, so you can see there are a lot of similarities. Like the full human කෙනෙක් ගත්තොත්, like we have a controlling unit, brain. Cell also having a controlling unit, maybe controlling unit, nucleus කියලා අපි කියනවා. Still you don't know about nucleus. I think you have heard some information from the YouTube and stuff, but I think you don't know about much. So I will explain that. So that this is the basic structural and functional unit, right? When the lesson goes further, I will explain how this is become the basic structural and functional unit. Anyway, so then main lesson the we need to discuss about the history of cell, right? And the other thing is in biology lessons, we are not going to write note, right? So I'm giving only questions. Like normally I'm printing questions, but I couldn't give you the printout. So I will send the PDF of these questions later. But we'll write the questions, keep spaces for that, and I will give it as a homework because we are explain karagamu, highlight karamu special main points. Then you can write the answers later. So biology lessons will question based yam the theory note that you have a complete note in your textbook. So again, no need to write same thing again and again. So questions to now you can use that for future purpose also. When you close to term test, like again you can check, you can revise the lesson using those questions. Okay, so in this lesson we need to discuss first about history of the cell, right? History. Just write the topic first, structure and functions of the plant and animal cell, unit 6. Write that first. Right. Then write the subtopic first, history and the cell theory. History and the cell theory. So I'm using some different subtopics here. Not same thing in the textbook. So go with my subtopics in my note, and then you can study same thing. But I've used different organization. History and the cell theory. History and the cell theory. History history and the cell theory. So this is the first subtopic. Right. I think broad. Okay. So history ගැන කතා කරද්දී what we can say, what we know. So you can see the image of a scientist in the first page of your textbook, science textbook. Science textbook, first page of the lesson, right? Who is that? Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke is the scientist. So he's the first one who observed cell. Huh? Not first to maybe produce කරපු කෙනා නෙමෙයි. Just observe කරපු. It's a Robert Hooke. So he did this in 1665. Then May 2026 1665 වලට තමයි first මෙයා අපිට observe කරේ. දැන් මෙයාට කලින් හිටපු scientists also they also try to observe this, but the thing is they don't have a proper equipment, right? And they get a light microscope we need. So, but the other people they have this desire to observe this, but they don't have a proper equipment. But this particular person, he invented a new device, this microscope, right? එයාගේ own හදපු microscope එක තමයි image එකකුත් පෙන්වන්න දෙනවා. එතකොට මේ microscope එක use කරලා he observe some magical thing inside the cork, right? So he observed a cork. Cork, I think you guys know cork. Yes, nowadays it's very rare, but still we can see some. Still we can see some alcohol bottles, like we can see. Wait. Cork. Yeah. This is the cork, right? Here, this image, right? Bottles වල lid එක විදිහට use කරනවා, like it's a wood වලින් හදන එකක්. Nowadays it's very rare, right? Normally we are using glass bottles, but we have a metallic lid. But previously we use this, and it's still some high price alcohol bottles wala these kind of lids they use, like some people like that. Okay, so ඔන්න ඔය වගේ cork එක structure එක තමයි first observe කරේ. He observed kind of a beehive shape, chambers like structure, right? Here that image also given here, so you can see that it's kind of like a beehive, right? There are thousands of cells there. So in using this microscope, he observed that. And there are a lot of scientists in this pathway, right? A lot of scientists in this pathway, and then one Leeuwenhoek here in Northern. There are a lot of scientists, but those names are not given here. So if you willing to do biology in A levels, you will learn those stuff. But here only Robert Hooke name mentioned. But then they directly goes to cell theory. Cell theory. Then who introduced this cell theory? There are three scientists for that. Before going to cell theory, write our first question. First question. Who is the first scientist? Who is the first scientist? Who is the first scientist? Observe the cell. Observe the cell. Who's the first scientist? Observe the cell. Right. Okay, so don't write the answers, just keep, and then we'll move for the cell theory. Then under cell theory, there are three scientists. Otana mention kala thena, just highlight. Guys, highlight Robert Hooke කියන name එක highlight කරන්න. And section of a cork කියන එක highlight කරන්න. And also chambers in a beehive. That wording also you need to highlight. Chambers of a beehive. Right? Three words I asked, three places I asked you to highlight. Okay. So then highlight, there are three names. Sliden, Swan, and Virchow. Workhope here some books say. But anyway, just remember the spellings, Radolf Virchow. Right? Mostly they don't ask. Some MCQs like can come. But but just remember, Sliden, Schwarden, Radolf Virchow. Right? So these three scientists introduce a new concept called cell theory. They introduce a new concept called cell theory. So make a kind of a revolutionary thing, right? But 1665 වලට වඩා ගොඩක් later තමයි මේ cell theory කියන එක introduce කරේ. That year is not mentioned here. So in this cell theory, there are three main concepts. What are those three? So first one is, they say that I mentioned in the first place, when we start the session, cell is the basic structural and functional unit of the life. Basic structural and functional unit of that. මොකක් හරි function එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Smallest unit එක තමයි cell. දැන් උතන ඉඳලා hierarchy levels ටිකක් තියෙනවනේ අපේ body එකේ. Cell තමයි initial level එක. ඊට පස්සේ tissues තියෙනවා. Tissues, you can learn that later. Tissues, then organs, then systems, then finally තමයි living organism. ඔය විදිහට hierarchical levels ටිකක් තියෙනවා. Cell තමයි starting point, basic structural and functional unit. And the other thing they say, second one, all organisms are made up of one or more cells. Some organisms are just one cell. Like අපි ගත්තොත් amoeba, paramecium. I don't think that you have heard some terms, but if you are like grade 8, 9, some names are mentioned, right? Or someone to observe that day. Some guys are very interested in this field. they know these terms, but some guys I don't know. So anyway, it's fine. We can learn that later. Amoeba, paramecia, those kind of some kind of diatoms, euglena, those kind of organisms having only one cell, right? But still, they can work, they can function, they can do their work, right? But one cell. But then after that, there are billions of cells inside our human body. But anyway, we do the same thing. They are tiny cell එකකින් ඉන්න කට්ටිය. Single cell organisms also, they doing nutrition, respiration, and digestion and excretion. Those functions are they are doing also. We also doing with these billions of cells. ඒක තමයි මේ second concept. The second line එක මේ cell theory එකේ. So third one is what? මේක නම් ගොඩක් Rodolph Virchow තමයි ගොඩක්ම involved මේ third concept introduce කරන්න. එයා කිව්වා all cells are come from pre-existing cells, right? They are formed from pre-existing cells. Then අපේ cells වල මුල්ම first cell එක form වුණේ කොහොමද? From our mother and father, right? ඉතින් ආපු zygote එක first cell එකට අපි කියනවා zygote කියලා. Zygote එක then divide වෙලා ඉන්නවා. හරි අපි මේ multiple billions of cells වෙනවා. Initially just only one cell. කියන අපි කියනවා fertilization කියලා. fertilization එකේදී එක cell එකයි තිබුණේ. cell එක ඊට පස්සේ 2 වුණා, 4 වුණා, 8 වුණා, 16, 32, 64 එළිය uterus එකේ develop වෙලා then baby comes out, right? So in every new cell form from pre-existing cells කලින් තිබ්බ cell එකකින් තමයි එන්නේ. So that's the thing, right? Okay, so write the next question. So first question I gave you, and write the next question. Name three scientists who introduced cell theory. Name three scientists who introduced cell theory. So guys, leave 3 lines. If my speed is too fast, just leave chat together private then I can slow down. Because I need to cover this lesson today, but anyway, we'll try. If not, it's fine. We need to cover some lessons quickly, before second term test. Anyway, I will arrange some extra sessions like this. This is not cover-up session, but I will plan to add some extra sessions also to cover these lessons. Otherwise, without covering these lessons, we can't do the second term test. So next week, definitely write the monthly test, right? Monthly test, improvement just check how you improve. At least 5 marks, 10 marks improvement I expect. Okay, I think you guys wrote. What are the 3 scientists? Name the 3 scientists introduced the cell theory, right? Then next question, right? Fourth, maybe third question, right? What are the contents? What are the contents of cell theory? What are the contents of cell theory? What are the contents of cell theory? So leave 3 lines for that also. So guys, when you write the answers, use separate black color pen. Like if you write questions in your black color or black color in questions, change karana blue color. So clearly you are indicate, or if you want, you can just first write the questions, then you can answer it. Mandala කැමති විදියක් economic preference එක different. එතකොට separately questions ටික ලියාගත්තොත් you can check these questions when you close to exams also. whether you can remember this or not. So anyway, questions to I need answers, right, before the next session. Okay, then highlight the three contents also in your textbook. Use light color highlighter. Clear. Right. Okay, then write the next subtopic, cell structure. Write the next subtopic, cell structure and observation. Cell structure and observation. Cell structure and observation. Cell structure and observation. Right. Okay, so we need to discuss about now cell structure and also observing how to observe this. I think some of you guys have done this practical in school. We need to observe both what? Both animal cells and plant cells. Animal cells and plant cells. For animal cells, to observe animal cells, we use our cheek cells, right? Yogurt spoon again, just we scrape and just put into a slide. Slide preparing is a different thing. Like the method they mention in activity 1 may just it's a some carefully you need to do that, guys. So first look at the method, page number 1111, activity 1. Cheek cells wash the mouth and scrape the inner side of the cheek using yogurt spoon. Then obtain a clean glass slide and put a drop of water and transfer the specimen onto the slide. Right? So cover the specimen using a cover slip. I think you know. If not, just observe when your teacher will do this in your lab. So then when she doing this, just observe carefully. Slide කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් මෙතන මට පෙන්නන්නේ. And ඒක වහන්න cover slip එකක් වහලා. Okay, cheek cells දාලා just drop of water also we put. Yeah, here they mention drop of water and transfer the specimen slide and cover slip, and we need to cover this specimen without gas bubbles. Gas bubbles simple, we can't observe it clearly. Without gas bubbles, we need to cover it and then observe through the light microscope. Observe through the light microscope. So make a step sticker, we need to write, right? So write next question. Name the step-by-step process of observing cheek cells. Observing cheek cells. Observing cheek cells. Observing cheek cells. So step by step, Leandra. 1, 2, 3, 4 line. Don't write as essay. Just one by one, right? And here also textbook highlight karanna. Put a drop of water. Put a drop of water highlight. And cover the specimen using a cover slip without trapping any air bubbles. Without trapping any air bubbles. That also you need to highlight. So those are very important points that you need to follow. Otherwise, you can't observe it clearly. Right, then some images also shown here, how you can see your cheek cells. Then to observe plant cell, we use onion, right? Onion peels we use to observe it. So here also they mentioned the method. Just read that part method. But the difference between the previous process. Right? Similar, right? Pretty similar specimen like a form done idea and also observation. So, but cell structure here you can see it's a clear difference, right? Clear difference you can observe. In plant cell, there are clear margins, right? Clear margins, but in cheek cells, it's not like that. There's no clear margins there. So that we can describe what the reason for that. So write the next question. Write the next question. So, draw draw the appearance of draw the appearance of stained. What is the meaning of stained? Stained means අර ඔකට අපි දානවා පොඩි මේ coloring එකක් වගේ. කියන්නේ ලැබ් එකේ තියෙනවා ඒක. අපි need මේක colorize කරන්න. Otherwise we can't observe it clearly. So we put some stain coloring here to stain this. Then we can observe this very clearly. Right? So write question, draw the appearance of stained cheek cells and onion cells, cheek cells and onion cells through the light microscope. Right. I think you got. So up to now, any questions you missed, just tell me in the chat. I will repeat it again. So now I told you, yeah. Any questions like use the chat line, freely use from here. Just put your questions, your issues. If you want further clarifications for some part, just privately put in the chat. Then I will further explain. If any questions missed up to now, just tell me. I think I gave you 3, 4, 5 questions, right? 5 questions like I gave you. Correct me if I'm wrong. 5 questions up to now I gave you. Okay, then no issues. So we'll continue. So then you have a topic called typical cell. Typical cell. Typical cell means what? Typical cell means what? ගොඩක් අය මේ වරද්දන question එකක් තමයි ඔක typical cell කියන්නේ. Typical cell. So here first sentence read the small structures present within the cell to perform different functions are known as organelles. So that highlight that line. Small structures present within the cell to perform different functions are known as organelles. Man, a typical cell definition එක නෙමෙයි. It's important one. Organelles. We move to next. We move to that section next. Discuss about organelles. And inside a cell, there are a lot of organelles. So we'll discuss that later. But here they mention the definition for organelles. Right? Highlight that one. Then the second paragraph, first line. The cell prepared by including all the organelles is known as a typical cell. So හැම cell එකේම හැම organelle එකක්ම නැහැ. කියන අපි cells බැලුවා cells observe කරොත් හිතන්න ඔයා cells 10ක් observe කරනවා කියලා. You observe 10 cells. But you can see there are different structures inside the cells. Right? There are not a lot of difference, but some kind of differences you can observe. එතකොට හැම structure එකක්ම තියෙනවනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි cell එකක every structure, every organelles are included. Now we call that as typical cell. So just remember carefully because කට්ටිය ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේක පරද්ද ගන්නවා. All the organelles තියෙනවා නම් inside a cell. So that cell we call as a typical cell. Right? So it's like cinema. Like I think you have heard cinema. Like he has all the good qualities and a very good boy. Like not any blames, like any quarrels with others. So very polite and all the good qualities there. No bad, any bad quality. Right? So cell also, but here we discussed about organelles. But anyway, typical cell has all the organelles. Right? So highlight that part also. The cell prepared by including all the organelles is known as typical cell. Typical cell. Right? This asked in exam also, previously in O-level exam, this definition. Right? So write the sixth question then. Define the term within inverted commas like organelle. Define the term organelle. Define the term organelle. Find the term organelle. Write the next one. Seventh one. Define the term. Typical cell. Define the term typical cell. Define the term typical cell. Right. Okay. So today I'm not going to do past paper questions, and normally we are doing some past paper questions. And last week question also I checked. I will send the answer sheet for you. So normally we are doing some MCQs or essay question during the class time. But today I'm not going to do because like and students like they say like they can't attend because of other classes because we changed the date. So anyway, this Saturday we have next class. So that day we restart that. Right? So ready, live class, you need to do some questions and send me the answers in the chat. So and we discuss that during the class time. Okay, so then come to next subtopic. Right, next subtopic. Cell organelles cell organelles and their functions. Wait, just you एक कट करना अपने में cell लेके introduce कर लेंगे. Just cut it and go to next page. Yes, you can see the typical plant cell. Typical plant cell in the page number 130. Right? Page number 130. So just write a subtopic, typical plant cell. I think you are using CR book. So CR book එක like half page වගේ use කරලා then page එක කොහොම නම් like use the first half, upper half and draw the plant cell. Quickly start drawing that. I will give you 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minute live. So within that period, try to draw as much as possible, but complete that later. And you need to label it also. I will give just 6 minute live. Within that time, just try to draw plant cell, typical plant cell. Okay. So here in this image, you can see in a plant cell image, clear margin, right? The outer margin becomes what? This is what? The cell wall, right? Plant cell wall, normally they have a cell wall. We can discuss what structure and functions then next. So, but just before that, just look at plant cell has a clear margins and there are a lot of structures inside that. So you can see nucleus, it was a chloroplast, cell wall, it was a mitochondria, Golgi complex, chloroplast, lot of things, right? So these every organelle has a particular function. A හැමෝටම function එකක් තියෙනවා. So that function you need to know. Sometimes these organelle structure also some little bit you need to know up like level looking, but mainly function is the most important thing. Function එක තමයි දැන් ගන්නම ඕන. And then next page you can see the animal cell. Right? Next page you can see the animal cell. So through an upper half use කරන්න කියලා plant cell එක. So at the lower half draw the animal cell. So why I am telling like this? Because then you can see the difference between these two cells clearly. Right? And some organelles also differ between these two cells, and also some cell wall is not in animal cell. So those differences you can clearly observe. So again, I will give 5 minute time. Just don't draw the plant cell now. Come to animal cell and start drawing that. Plant cell complete complete But now animal cell let's start. I'll give another 5 minute time. If you have any questions, just put in the chat. Yeah. We two students here today, so if you can ask anything and clarify. Right, we'll start. We didn't finish, so finish it as some homework. So this lesson we have a lot of homeworks because questions also there. Mm, so questions were kind of text. Don't write, just look in the textbook and then like copywriting like thing. Don't do that. Most people doing that. There's book in front of you and just writing answers. First study this lesson and then close the book. If you can't remember whole lesson, just first half you can study first and then close the book and try to write answers. If you are not sure, just try it in pencil. Then like when you practice that, then when lesson ඉවර වෙද්දිම this lesson will be going to your mind. Otherwise, again, for test you need to learn, study whole lesson. Right? If you do that kind of thing, like study color, then when you close to the exam, just you can quickly revise this lesson before going to science. Right? Hi. Then making what are the similarities between plant cell and animal cell? Plant cell and animal cell, and also what are the differences between plant cell and animal cell? Similarities and differences mainly you need to know. Then like similarities you can may sub you definitely know when you know the differences. Similarities is anything. Differences. What are the differences between them? Now you have two cells in your one page of your book. So what are the two cells? What are the differences? One is cell wall, right? Cell wall. Plant cell has a cell wall, but in animal cell, it's absent. It's absent. That's a one different. And the second one, what is the table also given here? But the second different, large content of it contains cytoplasm in animal cell. But plant cell, cytoplasm push towards periphery. So that's you can observe, right? So here there are free spaces in animal cell. Lot of free spaces. So those are filled with cytoplasm. Maybe inside a cell there is a liquid-like thing. Liquid කියන්නේ අතර liquid නෙමෙයි මේක කියන්නේ. Semi solid වගේ structure. අපි jelly හදන jelly like structure කියනවා organelles නැති හැමතැනම. Right? So that cytoplasm that the word we use for that. So cytoplasm is there. But in plant cell, it's packed with organelles, right? Because there's a large vacuole at the mid. Large vacuole is here. This is absent in animal cell. හොඳට බලන්න vacuole කියන එක absent in animal cell. So because the absence of this vacuole in the animal cells, so it's this space going to cytoplasm. That's why that different comes. Right? But yeah, that different comes. Then third one, this one, large vacuole. In a plant cell, large central vacuole is present. Because central තියෙන මැද හරියට centrally තියෙන. But animal cell, it's absent. And the other thing is this chloroplast, this structure. Chloroplast. Chloroplast මොකටද තියෙන්නේ? To produce food. Right? Food photosynthesis through food produced under chloroplast is here. So this chloroplast also animal cell is absent. You know, like we can't produce food, we can just consume it, right? But plant cell can produce food as glucose. So because for that, chloroplast is present, but chloroplast is absent in animal cell. So those are the differences. Where second එච්චරම quality නෑ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් වැඩි ලියන්නේ නැති එක. But first one, third one, and fourth one are main differences. But other differences also is between these two cells. But for all levels, we are not considering those. Major changes to the cell wall, central vacuole, and also what? Chloroplast. Chloroplast. ඔය vacuole ගත්තත් then animal cell එක few small vacuoles present වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Small few few vacuoles present වෙන්න පුළුවන් animal cell එකක. But මේ වගේ පොඩි මේ small vacuoles can be contained, but central vacuole එකක් තියෙන plant cell එකේ විතරයි. Central vacuole එකක් තියෙන plant cell එකේ විතරයි. Animal cell එක middle තියෙන්නේ මොකක්ද? Nucleus cell. Nucleus cell. But මේකෙදි it's vacuole, right? මේක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ ඔය වගේ විදිහට. Those are the differences. So write the next question. Write the next question. Name formally name four major differences. Name four major differences between animal cell and the plant cell. Name four major differences between animal cell and a plant cell. Right? So I think you guys remember already. Cell wall, central vacuole, and also chloroplast. And the last one, cytoplasm. Animal cell, cytoplasm. There are a lot of space for cytoplasm, but in plant cell, organelles are packed and cytoplasm goes peripheral. It's pushed towards peripheral. Okay, so those are the things, right? Then we'll come to our next topic. That's why I'm going to write previously. Now we'll write. We have the next subtopic. Cell organelles and their functions. Cell organelles and their functions. Cell organelles and their functions. Okay, so there are a lot of organelles here and cell structures here. So we need to discuss those. Some actually we not considered as organelles. Then cell wall එක වගේ ගත්තොත් ඒක organelle එකක් නෙමෙයි. It's a structure, right? But anyway, now under this subtopic, ඔතනම ලියා ගන්න cell organelles, structures. එතන පොඩි මේ වගේ එකක් දාලා ඒකත් දාගන්න තමයි. Cell organelles, structures, and their functions. Structures and their functions. Right, organelles, structures, and functions. Right. So now we are going to discuss that. So first one you have is cell wall. Cell wall, right? Cell wall in the plant cells, right? Plant cell එකේ තමයි cell wall එක තියෙන්නේ. So cell wall, what are the functions? What are the functions? Before going to functions, this is a dead structure, right? Already dead. This is a non-living structure. Non-living structure. Make a living structure up name. Non-living structure. So this is very tough, right? Other structure. This is made up of cellulose. It's a kind of carbohydrate, cellulose, carbohydrate. Those are that cellulose is mentioned here, cellulose. And also, what are the functions? Cell wall give the shape of the cell, right? And it maintain the shape, right? And shape maintain karan. Then give the support for the cell and also the protection, right? So main three functions mentioned here: maintain the shape of the cell, give the support to the cell, and also the protection. Three main functions here. Okay. We'll write questions So this is and the other thing is outermost covering. All the structures are built. Right? Cell wall is the outermost structure. Okay. Under this topic, right? Uh, right. The first question. First question. Name the main constituent. Name the main constituent of cell wall. Name constituent of cell wall. The main constituent of cell wall. Right. Then write. So highlight the word date structure. Date structure highlight කරගන්න. And then highlight cellulose. Cellulose highlight. And then highlight the functions. Three functions mentioned here: shape of the cell, support, and protection. So highlight those three also. And write the next question. What are the three functions of cell wall? What are three functions of cell wall? Three functions of cell wall. Right? No need to draw that because you already have drawn plant cell. If you want, just keep some space for draw that. But if you need to draw here, just keep some space before going to next question, because those are the three questions come to cell wall. Then next structure. What is next structure? Plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. So plasma membrane, also known as cell membrane. Cell membrane. Right? Now, animal cell consider this animal cell having only this plasma membrane as its covering. Right? Covering plasma membrane, cell membrane. Outermost cell wall not there. Right? But in a plant cell wall is there. So cell wall there is another structure which is plasma membrane. Right? So plasma membrane is here. So plant cell also having plasma membrane, but it's tightly attached to the cell wall. Right? But in animal cell, it's clearly visible. Right? So what they say about plant plasma membrane? Just read with me. Plasma membrane is present interior to the cell wall of plant cell. The boundary of the animal cell is the plasma membrane. Animal cell boundary plant cell membrane, plasma membrane. It is made up of phospholipids and proteins. It is made up of phospholipids and proteins. Phospholipids and proteins. Highlight the two words: phospholipids and proteins. Phospholipids and proteins. Still, you know proteins, right? Proteins in by this class we couldn't do that, but I think you know what are the tests for protein, biuret test, what are the element composition there, CHO and sometimes sulfur, what are the monomer of it, amino acids, so those things you know, protein and that no. But you don't know about phospholipids, right? It's a type of lipid, right? It's a type of lipid. So it's containing plasma membrane, right? So I think you have highlight. And the other important thing, next line, plasma membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. What is semi-permeable? What is semi-permeable? So highlight semi-permeable membrane can highlight කරන්න. And just if you have Google, just Google it. Semi-permeable meaning semi-permeable. What is semi-permeable? Okay, semi-permeable means semi-permeable වෙන්නේ plasma membrane විතරක් නෙමෙයි. දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් ඔය Excel එකක තියෙන membrane එක. Excel means egg. Normal egg එකක් ගත්තොත් chicken egg එකක් ගත්තොත් just you can see inside that shell there is a membrane, right? So it also a semi-permeable membrane. So some practicals we use that in A-level biology practicals. But that's also semi-permeable membrane. So semi-permeable means through that membrane, it allows some substance to go through it. සමහර ඒවාට ඒක cross කරන්න පුළුවන්. Some substances can cross that, but some substances can't cross that. And if we take water, water molecules can cross easily without any energy this plasma membrane. But if you take glucose, glucose can't do that. Glucose need some energy to cross this plasma membrane. Right? That's the difference, right? So semi-permeable means some substances can go through it, go through that membrane, but some other substances can't go through it. So that's the difference between those two. Difference in the semi-permeable membrane. Then semi-permeable වගේම permeable membranes තියෙනවා. Permeable structures තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි cell wall ගත්තොත් it's a permeable structure. Cell wall through any substance can pass. Water, glucose, minerals can pass. But it acts as a barrier for microorganisms. But other substances can go through it. It's a permeable structure. But plasma membrane හරියට ෆිල්ටර් කරලා ගන්න ඕන ටික විතරයි ගන්න. ඔය සමහර chemicals එහෙම toxic materials plants are not absorb. Right? අපි ගොඩාක් දානවනේ chemicals agrochemicals එහෙම soil එකට, but plants cells can filters into some extent, right? අපිට 100% කියන්න බෑ. Some plants having that ability very in a very higher level, but some plants can't do that. Lower level, so they absorb it, right? So I think anyway, semi-permeable meaning some substances can enter through it, some substances can't go through that. Okay. If you want, just write. So what the main function of this plasma membrane? It's given as enclose the cell. මෙයා තමයි close කරන්නේ. Here also in animal cell it's really important, but here also in plant cell also it enclose the cell. Try highlight that main function of it to enclose the cell. And other than that, they given allow entry of water, ions, some molecules, and thereby control the entry and exit of materials. Highlight කරන්න control the entry and exit of materials. Right. ඊළඟට අපේ questions වලට එන්න. Next question, right? What are the substances? What are the substances involving making plasma membrane? Involving making plasma membrane. What are the substances involving making plasma membrane? Then the next one, right? What do you mean by semi-permeable. Inverted commas down. Semi-permeable. What do you mean by semi-permeable? Semi-permeable. What do you mean by semi-permeable? Right. Then Liana. Next question. Name two functions of cell membrane. Name two functions of cell membrane. Name two functions of cell membrane. Right. Okay. So they are also like you figure 6.8. You can see like the right side when the image එකක් cell එක නෙමෙයි. තව structure එකක් තියෙනවා. මේක තමයි original structure of perfect structure of cell membrane. Right? ඔය තියෙන අතර phospholipid molecules, phospholipid and proteins. Right? ඔය විදියට තමයි යන්නේ enclose the cell. So just look at some videos. I will put 2-3 videos for this also, like some very colorful animations in some videos to teach this. I will share that in the group. Okay, then cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. Okay, so what is cytoplasm? I told you in these spaces, the main organelles නැති space එකක් තියෙනවා. So that space without organelles, the space without organelles inside the cell filled with cytoplasm. The space without organelles inside the cell filled with cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is kind of a gelatinous liquid, right? It's a gelatinous liquid. Highlight the term gelatinous liquid. ඔක්කොම highlight කරන්න යන්න එපා. ඔය key terms highlight කරන්න. So you need to remember those key terms because when you're writing answers, you need to include those. Then you can get marks. So sometimes most students are facing like they are writing answers, very long answers sometimes, but their marks are very low. The thing is like keywords, main points are not there in your answers. That's the main thing. Right? So highlight the key terms in your textbook in every lesson. So then they go to your mind when you study, then they can include your answer sheets. Okay. Balance gelatinous liquid part of the cell, excluding organelles, is known as the cytoplasm. Then inorganic and organic substances are present in it. මොනවද මේ inorganic organic කියන්නේ? First lesson එකේ කතා කරන්න ඇති organic inorganic. Organic means කියන මොකක් හරි compound එකක carbon element එකක් විදිහට තියෙනවා. Carbon as an element නම්. So we call it as organic normally, right? Generally. But carbon තිබිලත් organic වෙන්නේ නැති ඒවා තියෙනවා. Right? There are carbon with there, but it's not an organic one. So that carbon dioxide, right? That's mentioned in first lesson also. Carbon dioxide having carbon, but it's not an organic one. So, but generally, carbon is there, not it's an organic. And protein, carbon is there. Protein is an organic one. Carbohydrate, it's having carbon. It's an organic one. So likewise, lipids, same. Carbon is there. Inorganic means it doesn't contain carbon. Carbon නැත්නම් අපි ඒකට කියනවා inorganic කියලා. Right? So okay. So inorganic and organic substances are present in the functions of cytoplasm are maintain the shape of the cell. දැන් අපි animal cell එකක් ගත්තොත් in an animal cell plasma membrane is just a membrane. Think like when you remove the shell of you boil a egg. Boil egg now it's not good for this example because boil කරාම ඇතුලේ structures ටික solid වෙලානේ. Before boiling egg, pure like original egg එකක් කරාම when you remove the shell very carefully, then that membrane, that inside membrane can't keep that shape, right? That oval shape keep කරන්න බෑ. එයා actually strong ඈ. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? එතකොට මේකේ shape එක maintain කරන්න, cell එකේ shape එක maintain කරන්න involve වෙන්නේ inside cytoplasm. ඔන්න ඔතනදී තමයි gelatinous fluid එකක් වෙන එකේ importance එක තියෙන්නේ. Because if this is a pure solid liquid, then can't maintain the shape. But this is kind of a cytoplasm, a jelly-like structure. I think you all have eaten jelly. And jelly is having some shape, but it's a semi-solid, right? Semi-solid there. Fridge it's a semi-solid. But still, it's a semi-solid liquid. It's maintained the shape also. Here also same thing happens. So in animal cell, they make a plant cell plant cell no need. But in animal cell, it maintains the shape to the cell. And also, they are cell organelles. So this is important to maintain these cell organelles in particular locations. And then make chloroplastic මෙතන තියාගන්න. මේක පල්ලෙහාට වැටෙන්නේ මෙතන තියාගන්න. It's important in cytoplasm. Right? And vacuole, nucleus. So then cytoplasm is important to maintain the organelles in particular places inside of a cell. Oh, and third one is carry out different metabolic processes. Some metabolic, I think metabolism, those terms still you don't know. Metabolism means like chemical reactions, right? Chemical reaction inside the body. There are chemical reactions happening in our body. So in the cellular level also, inside the cell, some chemical reactions occur. So chemical reactions will make cytoplasm facilitate them. It allows them to do that chemical reactions and maintain cell properly. Right? So some terms you can actually learn in next few lessons, and sometimes in grade 11 also sometimes coming. Anyway, don't worry. Simple thing is, if you can't understand something, you can ask me. You can put WhatsApp message or in chat you can use. If not, you can just use AI, right? Chat GPT I'm not recommending because it's like conversational AI, right? But Gemini you can write Google product, and Claude AI also good. Claude, it is the now it's a trending one, Claude. But Gemini is pretty good for educational purposes. So just say I'm in grade 10 in Sri Lanka. I'm learning local syllabus and I'm learning this lesson. Now, these terms are not clear for me. Just explain simply. Then he'll explain. Yeah. So at the beginning of the class, I show you this slide show like only one slide I show you. I will put that into the group. That also, yeah, I upload your lesson to the lesson and I create one. Right? So you can just make videos that I'm using notebook LM mostly. Gemini get notebook LM product. That's very good. I can make videos, audio views. I can hear mind maps. I can create. I will show you that. I will show you. This is what I use for your class. Here, this one. So here, last year also I used this same thing. this here also now I am using. So here I am uploading all the past papers of you, right? And also your textbook. Your textbook also there. And here you may grade 11 weekly test take of the upload. That's last time. So anyway, past papers and your textbooks. Then I asked him to do some activities, right? So I generate your, this is the one I show you, cell structure. So this one, like sometimes we need to double check. That's why I'm not sharing much about these things in your group that I shared. Fiction lesson එකකට share කරා. Then මේ වගේ slide shows they give, right? And also you can create mind maps. Mind maps, flashcards, video views, audio views, data tables, infographics. I will ask him to make infographic summary of unit 6, grade 10. So you need to give prompt very clearly, but I just do very simple one. But grade 10, I'm facing O-level exam next year. So now just they give proper. Here, this is the one I prepare before your class. They show smallest working unit, typical cell. Here, the differences between plant cell and animal cell, and like this. So these parts we need to discuss. Right? You can use that. So use those because like people using students using when people who scored 80 plus 90 plus they are using this. So you also need to use this, right? These are free tools, no need to pay. So just use. ChatGPT just ChatGPT is not good for educational purposes. Still, Gemini, I recommend Gemini and Claude. Right, okay. So will cytoplasm I describe. So functions also highlight, maintain shape to the cell, where cell organelles carry out different metabolic process. Okay, so right question for cytoplasm. What is known as cytoplasm? 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 Right? Then the next one. The next one. Right? Name three functions of cytoplasm. Name three functions of cytoplasm. Right? Okay. Okay, then we'll move to the most important organelle of a cell, which is nucleus. අපි ඒකට subtopic එකක් ගමු පොඩ්ඩක් nucleus කියලා because I need to highlight that with like context එක questions ලියාගෙන යනවා තමයි but I need to highlight that nucleus. So just put a small subtopic nucleus. Right? So they give image of nucleus when you see it, observe it using a light microscope. No, this is kind of electron microscope image. Light microscope you can't observe like this. This is electron microscope image. Right? So what are the parts of nucleus? So go to page number 113, page number 113. So there you can see the structure. And 114 and 114 ඊට වඩා clear. Animal cell. So at the middle you can see large structure which is the nucleus. Right? So what are the subparts of nucleus? One is nucleolus. අර පේනව ඇති. Nucleus එක මැද්දේ. So here this is the nucleus. I'm drawing this nuclear envelope. Nuclear covering එකට අපි කියනවා nuclear envelope කියනවා. Nuclear envelope. So nuclear envelope is double membrane one, right? Membranes දෙකක් තියෙනවා. Double membrane. Double membrane structures, few double membrane structures in a cell. So this is one of those. This structure having gaps, right? These are the gaps. So we call those nuclear pores. Nuclear pores. Right? But those are not mentioned here. So those are nuclear pores. Right? And also inside the nucleus you can see a circular structure which is nucleolus. Nucleolus. Right? And surrounding of nucleolus there are structures, noodles वगैरह, structures like this. So these are we called as chromatine. So this is nucleolus, and these thread-like structures we called as noodles-like structures we called as chromatine. So chromatine means these are chromosomes. Chromosomes means these are DNA. අතරම ගත්තොත් මේ DNA තමයි, but they pack as chromatine. Pack වෙලා තියෙන්නේ chromatine විදියට. So මේක membrane එකට අපි කියනවා මොකක් කියලාද? Nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope. Right. So nucleus killer, I think you wrote subtopic. Can you quickly draw this? Because there's no image, clear image there. So can you quickly draw this? This is double membrane. Okay, quickly draw. I'll give 3 minutes. 5 minutes. I'll give 1 minute. You can't read any word. Just tell me. This is chromatin, chromosomes, DNA. Okay, so I will finish. So next come to the text. Page number 115 again. 15. Page number 115. Right. So read the text. Nucleus is the main organelle in a cell. It is surrounded by nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope. And one or two nucleolus. One or two. Here I go only one. Normally one, right? Two number. Only one nucleolus. Anyway, they say as one or two nucleolus and chromatin body. Chromatin body. The chromatin body chromatin body. Chromatin body present inside the nucleus. Highlight nucleolus and chromatin body. And also highlight surrounded by a nuclear envelope. Just use a highlight because new students here, just that's why I highlight. I mentioned this. Use a highlighter. Don't underline no point, yes, guys. Highlight answer. Just I'm underlining in physical classes also. That not no point. Use light color one, like green, light green, no yellow color one. Good. Then during cell division, this chromatin body convert to chromosomes. That's why I write this chromosomes. The functions of chromosomes are the storage of genetic material. මේ chromatin body එකේ chromosomes වලට පුළුවන් අපේ genetic materials store කරන්න. And then they transfer that genetic material into next generation for giving inherited characters and the characteristics for the next generation. Then, parents like features available characteristics. Mother, some characteristics of yours are mother's ones. Some are father's ones. Right? So those are comes from due to this because finally DNA. So this DNA come to your first cell. Zygote in the first cell. So it comes to zygote with the cell division and the fertilization. We can discuss that later. We have reproduction lesson on power quickly. So that comes. So anyway, two functions mentioned here. Chromosomes are the storage of genetic material. So highlight that chromosomes are the storage of genetic material. And the next one, transfer inherited characters from generation to generation. So these functions we take as nucleus functions, right? Nucleus functions with that gun, chromosomes will functions, nucleus functions with the storage of genetic material and transfer inherited characters from generation to generation. So in the water, there are three main functions, right? Okay, guys, come to next page also. Page. You can hear the number of chromosomes is specific to a species. Chromosome number is specific for a species. Like humans, how many chromosomes we have in a cell? How many chromosomes in a human cell? That's mentioned here. 46 chromosomes. 46 chromosomes, right? But it is unique for us. Yeah, we mentioned 26 chromosomes to the frog plant fatty plant 24 chromosomes. It's differ from species to species. We have 46. Number is important, right? We can ask. Highlight that 46 chromosomes in a human cell, human being, human cell. And then finally, they mentioned the main function of nucleus is the control of life activities of the cell. Highlight that also. Control life activities of the cell. Right. අපේ brain එක වගේ cell එකක් consider කරලා cell has nucleus. So you control only brain's functioning and its control, decision making. Right, okay. We'll write some questions for this nucleus also. Right. Briefly describe the next question. Briefly describe briefly describe the structure of nucleus. Structure of nucleus. How it make describe the structure. Then write what is the main function of nucleus? What is the main function of nucleus? Main function of nucleus. And then write name two other functions of nucleus. Name two other functions of nucleus. Name two other functions of nucleus. Right? Okay, so finish nucleus. And a chromosome count will meet in next second half of this lesson also. So I'm not going to write that now. Okay, then the structure called mitochondria. Mitochondria. It's like it's a power plant of cell. Right? Energy to produce mitochondria. So mitochondria structure it's kind of a it's also double membrane one. Membranes they are two membranes there. So double membrane structure is there. So the name first membrane is like this, and the inner membrane It's a curved one, like this. So mitochondria is important for produce energy. හැම දෙයක්ම කරන්න energy ඕන. Like in a house, we need energy sources. Solar energy, නැත්නම් grid එකකින් ගෙන අපේ normal current energy වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So anyway, we need energy for life. And cell also need, cell is the basic unit, so it need energy. So how they get energy? That energy given by mitochondria. Like we eat food, that using that food and also oxygen, mitochondria that convert it into energy. Well, they can main function. So, but before that, they mentioned the structure of it quickly. First one, highlight, it is an oval or rod shape. Oval, මේ වගේ oval shape එකක් තියෙන පුළුවන් නිකන් rod එකක් වගේ තියෙනත් පුළුවන්. Oval or rod shape. Highlight that. And also membrane bounded. Then on a textbook with double membrane කියලා. I'm not sure they asked that, but if you want, just write double membrane bounded. Oh. Right. Aerobic respiratory reactions take place within the mitochondria. What is aerobic? Have you heard aerobic exercises? I think some of you guys have done daily aerobic exercises, swimming, running, cycling, walking, those kind of exercises we consider aerobic exercises. Why aerobic? Because those exercises need a lot of oxygen. Right? So aerobic term means when you do some reaction with oxygen, so producing, especially producing energy with oxygen, we call those aerobic respiratory reactions. Aerobic respiratory reactions. අපි oxygen වැඩිපුර use කරන exercises වලට අපි කියනවා aerobic exercises කියලා. Normally cardio exercises में තමයි aerobic exercise and I did for my first degree in physiotherapy, so I know about this. But just search. I have a YouTube channel, but I couldn't publish videos recently. SciFit Health. Normally, I put these teaching videos in SciFit Academy, but this is the first channel I have. SciFit Health. I have like 9,000 like subscribers. Now I'm going to convert it to English. Still, previously I did it in Sinhala. Now I'm going to target English audience. We'll see what we can do. Just such main healthy topics we discuss, exercises, stuff. So in aerobic exercises, they consume a lot of oxygen. So here, mitochondria can produce energy using oxygen. So we call aerobic respiratory reactions. We think highlight aerobic respiratory reactions and mitochondria to release energy. So release energy highlight, and this is known as powerhouse of the cell. The energy produced within the mitochondria is used to metabolic activities. They chemical reactions ඒවට use කරනවා අපේ ඇඟේ within the cell. Inside our body also chemical reaction occurs. Within the cell also chemical reactions occurs. So for those, that energy is used. Then house එකක් කියලා, it's also a unit, and we use energy for different functions, doing classes, attending classes, and for our television, mobile phones, different stuffs. So likewise, cell also use this energy for its cellular activities. Simple. So always just think science is not a subject, it's a life activities, life life එකේ තියෙන දේවල් තමයි things තමයි we learn as a science. So everything මේ world එකේ තියෙන හැම දෙයක්ම වගේ science වලටයි maths වලටයි දාන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Art දැන් මෙතන art කියලා art වල වුණත් there's a science, right? සමහර art product art සමහර songs films popular වෙන්නේ they use some different scientific approaches. So science can just a single subject. It's our life. Right? Biology means our body and plant bodies. Physics only we learn mechanical systems, vehicle, house, those stuff. In chemistry we learn the basic structures of all these mechanical systems and biological systems. Up into අතොඩ සෙල් එක ගත්තොත් සෙල් එකේ බේසික් ස්ට්‍රක්චර්ස් වල there are chemistry right chemistry තියෙනවා ඒ ඔක්කොම හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ chemical molecules and atoms නිසා මේක අර simply ගන්න ගොඩාක් මේක subject එකක් විතර boring කරගන්න එපා just watch videos and there are a lot of if you use TikToks you can use those also but it's kind of addictive thing. Using shorts can be addictive. Control that. Long form content much better if you can consume more in YouTube. So use those and practicals also. School again practicals to cover karagana. We can't do. I'm planning to do some practicals as well, but it's online, so you can't touch those. But if you need physically, we can do those also. So, but practicals you can cover in school. School like one teacher then is very interesting. Okay, then next questions, right? Mitochondria related. We have briefly described just only one line, but I'm right. Just briefly describe the structure of mitochondria. Structure of mitochondria. Right. Then write next one. What is the function of mitochondria? What is the function of mitochondria? What is the function of mitochondria? Then we'll move to Golgi complex. Golgi complex, let's look at it's a kind of a different shape. Like circles, oval shaped ones. But here, this has tubular structure. Tubular structure. Okay. And also some circular things at the two ends. Those are we call as vesicles. This kind of structure. And so this is we call as Golgi complex. Complex it's complex. So read the text. Membrane bounded sacs. We are given sacs here. Tubules, but sacs. Sacs here, tubules, but sacs here mentioned. Sacs. And these are vesicles. So membrane bounded sacs stacked on top of the other with associated secretory vesicles. Secretory vesicles are collectively known as Golgi complex. So the production of secretory substances and packaging and secretion. Secretory substances. So mostly our respiratory system in cells contain these Golgi complexes more because they are producing secretions. So those secretions production mainly occurs within these Golgi complexes. They produce these secretory substances, package inside the secondary vesicles, and these vesicles travel to plasma membrane. Plasma membrane. They travel to plasma membrane and release to outside. And when there are millions of cells, so they release each and every cell releasing secretions, and collectively will become mucus inside our respiratory system. Right? So called Golgi complex එකොන් ඔය වගේ ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකක් තමයි කරන්නේ. right ලියන්න එතන Golgi complex වල related විදියට. If you want, just keep some space to draw. Just I'll give 1 minute just to quickly draw the sacs and secondary vesicles. Okay, so write the question. What is the function of Golgi complex? What's the function of Golgi complex? As a function of Golgi complex. Okay, then next one. Today we go until 10:45, like we need to go until 11 since we are doing normally 2.5 hour class. So, but since we start 8:30, normally Saturday we start at 8 o'clock. Since the time is going, I'll finish 10:45, like since because we are not doing questions today. But Saturday, normally 2.5 hours, 8 p.m. we start, and ready with your past paper book. And if you have, you can download, I will tell, Western Province papers. Sometimes some of guys are having. I will ask you to download or print it. Just I'm not decided which question this week we are doing. We'll see. Driver. So anyway, past paper book you need 2016 to 2025. Here 24 not an issue. You can print the 25 paper. But anyway, 2016 is the question because 2016 time syllabus start. Right, ribosome structure. So here you can see that they are small organelles without membrane. So ribosomes not having a membrane. Highlight without a membrane. So if they ask an organelle without a membrane, you can write ribosome. You can write ribosome. Right. So it's made up of large subunit and a small subunit. You can see there. Highlight a large subunit and a small subunit. Large subunit and a small subunit. Right. Then they can be found freely in the cytoplasm. Highlight freely in the cytoplasm or attached to endoplasmic reticulum. Still, you don't know endoplasmic reticulum. Next we can discuss that, but currently just highlight. Sometimes they dot. Sometimes cytoplasm again dots we can see. Sometimes it attached to, there are tubular structure called endoplasmic reticulum. So they attach to this membrane. So I will explain this with the next organelle like this. Free or membrane bounded. Attached to membrane. Membrane bounded, attached to membrane. Not membrane bounded. Okay, highlight. I think highlight freely in the cytoplasm or attached to endoplasmic reticulum. So what the function? That's the most important thing. Function of ribosome. That is what? Protein synthesis. Right? Protein synthesis. වලට වඩා ඒක දීලා තියෙන්නේ providing place for protein synthesis. That's the most accurate one. Actually, it gives the place for producing proteins inside the cell. Right? කියන්නේ දන්න factory එකක් තියෙනවා. factory හදන තැන විදිය තමයි මේක. Protein හදන තැන location එක. Providing place for protein synthesis. Highlight that also. Okay, then write the question for ribosomes. First one, how you can observe ribosomes inside a cell. How you can observe ribosomes inside a cell. ඔබට answer එක ලියන්න ඕනේ. question එක එච්චරම perfect නෑ, but answers I expect sometimes those are freely can observe as free ribosomes. Sometimes we can observe those ribosomes as membrane attached ones, attached to endoplasmic reticulum on the free ribosomes. And the other one, what is the other one? They are attached to endoplasmic reticulum. Short form ER endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, so those two, right? And the next one, right? What is the function? What is the main function? Main function only, just function. What is the function of ribosomes? The function of ribosomes. Sleep it that if you just drink water, coffee or tea or something. Just we'll finish 8:45. Like we need to discuss this organelle part, then cell division. We can finish 1 hour like period in next day, and we'll move to most important lesson, quantification of elements next day. Right? So that is really important. Still grade 11 students also struggling on that. ඒක හරියටම calculations stick කරගන්න ඕනේ. Class time day and home has homework also. We need to do this properly. And I hope I plan to do a video for monthly test discussion. But I couldn't do that. I tried it for my then you can watch it and your incorrect answers වලට explanation එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා I will do that. I will record that as soon as possible and upload to YouTube and will send the link. Okay, then we'll move to endoplasmic reticulum. So make it topic එක පොඩ්ඩක් ලියමු. Endoplasmic reticulum. And can you draw this? Here actually there are two types of endoplasmic reticulum. One is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum. Other one is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough වෙලා තියෙන අතරම මේක membrane එකේ තියෙනවා මොනවද? Ribosomes. Since ribosomes are there, we call it as rough endoplasmic reticulum. But smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they don't have any ribosomes. So we call it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And these two having different functions. Can you quickly just draw this figure 6.13? Just I will give 1 minute. Endoplasmic reticulum. So guys, try as much as insert these stuff in the class time. Right? අමාරුයි ඔක්කොම 100% කරන්න බෑ but if දැන් මේ ක්ලාස් එක කරපු දෙක දැන් මේක රෙකෝඩින් එකක් මම දානවනේ ඕනනම් ඒකේ මොනවා හරි clear නැති දැනුත් ආයෙ එක බලන්නත් පුළුවන් if you have any questions you can ask now අහන්න අනිවාර්යෙන් questions මේ chat එකට දාන්න I'll take that and but ආයෙත් මේ lesson එක පොඩ්ඩක් හෙට හරි අනිද්දා හරි වට revise කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් then it will go for your most of the time it will go for your long term memory. If something goes for your long term memory, that will never forget. Mostly never forget. දැන් මේ තියෙන ගොඩක් දේවල් අපි දැන් religion වල use කරන chanting with the things තියෙන ගාථා Buddhist නම් ගාථා තියෙන but ඒවා අපිට never forget because like multiple times we repeat those, right? Same thing we can apply for this also. When it goes to long-term memory, then it never forget. Only thing is like practicing, practice, and you need to engage with these subjects, right? Especially the main subjects, math, science, IT. I think English okay for you because you are in English medium. So main subjects, commerce. If you can score 80 plus every term, 85 like, then no pressure in grade 11. We can smoothly end. Grade 11, you have weekly test in our class. So weekly you can test yourself and easily you can pass all of them. So not a hard exam. Okay, so read the text. It is an intermembranous network made up of flat or tubular sacs. Highlight flat or tubular sacs within the cytoplasm. Endoplasmic reticulum is two types. They are rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum, also known as RER. On our textbook, brackets RER. Some books say RER. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum is SCR. Capitals. Right. So rough endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum become rough due to ribosomes attached to the membrane. Right, I told you the function of it is the transportation of proteins within the cell. Proteins within the cell. Highlight transportation of proteins within the cell. Transportation of proteins within the cell. Right. Then smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Then ඒක හරි simple protein transportation කරනවා වෙන්නේ. මොකද මෙයාගේ ribosomes ඉන්නවනේ පිටේ. So එතකොට they attach to the membrane. So ribosomes produce proteins and what endoplasmic reticulum doing is they transport it because it has a highway. Because tubular structure කියන්නේ තමයි අර දැකලා තියෙනවා tunnels වලින් travel කරනවා. There's a name for that. Tunnels වලින් travel කරන systems then some countries having that and building those to reduce traffic and those are really fast. You can travel. So here also transportation of proteins happen within the cell. And smooth endoplasmic reticulum, just read that it's a network of tubular sacs without මෙතන මේ tubular sacs කියලා තියෙනවනේ. දැන් ඕක අර දැන් rough endoplasmic reticulum they not mention that rough endoplasmic reticulum having flat sacs, right? mention කරගන්න flat sacs. rough එකේ තියෙන්නේ flat RER flat sacs, right? Smooth endoplasmic reticulum has tubular sacs without ribosomes. No ribosomes there. Without ribosomes. So, what are the functions? Synthesis of lipids. Steroids. Have you heard steroids? Like in gym people, they try to inject or sometimes use as tablets steroids to build muscles. And also steroids used as a drugs and medicines. So synthesis of lipids, it's kind of a lipid type, steroids can. Lipids, steroids, and transport them within the cell. Transport them within the cell. Right? So highlight the function. Lipids, synthesis of lipids, steroids, and transport them within the cell. The second. Okay, so we'll move to last topic of this today's session, vacuole. Just write a small subtopic, vacuole. In plant cell, vacuole is the primary thing again, like so vacuole. So this is what we'll read this text. It is a fluid-filled large organelle. Fluid-filled large organelle. Complete fluid, right? Semi-solid organelle, just fluid-filled organelle found in plant cells. Only central vacuole only in plant cells, but small vacuoles you can see in animal cells. I mentioned you earlier, which is surrounded by a membrane. Single membrane there. The membrane that surrounds the vacuole is known as chloroplast. Nuclear nucleus membrane. Here, vacuole membrane is known as what? Phonoplast. Phonoplast. But remember, phonoplast. Highlight the term, phonoplast. Phonoplast and our term theory. What is that? The fluid contained it is known as cell sac. So fluid inside this known as cell sac. Quickly draw this. The fluid inside this is known as cell sac. Fluid, ribosomes fluid. And guys, I need I'm this is a new thing, but we'll try to do this with my time. I plan to do just 1 hour session live for a month as a just one-to-one discussion. Just this one-to-one discussion, 1 hour live for a month. Just you can, and in that session, you can just talk with me for your issues, what kind of changes you need to do in our class, and papers, what are the lessons that you are struggling. So still you have just 5-6 lessons, but when you go moving forward, you will be struggling in some lessons. Next lesson also that kind of lesson. You have hard lesson, yeah. You can discuss with me. Just 1 hour like period, 1 hour, just in the now it's half an hour, so sometimes it'll be okay. So what issues address I can understand your situation. right? Or sleepy. Anyways, finish. So just I'll plan to do that also. Just for then this is kind of a group class like this. So then one I can understand you better. We'll see. I will give some notification for that when I plan that properly. Okay, cell sap and tonoplast. Then read water, sugar, ions, and pigments store within the vacuole. Highlight water, sugar, ions, pigments store within the. I think we didn't wrote questions for rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So we need to write those. Now vacuole liver. So guys, if you have uh, space, or whatever. So just only two questions you need to write there. What is the function of rough endoplasmic reticulum? What's the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum? So that two you need to add under endoplasmic reticulum. You get කරගන්න. What if paper attach කරලා if you have a space නැත්නම් after vacuole also you just write those two questions. Like when you study, you can understand that. So vacuole questions will start. First one. First one, right? So you draw this, then first one, right? Name four components of a vacuum. Name four components of a vacuum. Name four components of a vacuum. Right? And then read from there. Generally, no vacuoles are found, and sometimes small vacuoles may present in animal cells. Animal cells, so sometimes small vacuoles are there, sometimes no vacuoles. The then they mention small vacuoles may present in animal cells. Contractile vacuoles, highlight contractile vacuoles can be found in unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔය ඇමීබා පැරමීසියම් වගේ අයගේ තියෙනවා contractile vacuoles කියලා ජාතියක්. ඒවයි function එක pretty same, but different name, contractile vacuoles. Then functions mentioned here, maintains of water balance because water can store here, maintains water balance. අඩු වුණොත් water supply එකක් තියෙන water tank එකක් තියෙනවා කියන එක විතර ඒ වගේ එකක්. Support and provision of color to the cell. Pigments are there. So using those pigments, they can give color to the cell. Right? Support and provision of color to the cell by pigments. And those are the functions. Right? Elan question, nigga. Where you can observe contractile vacuoles. Contractile vacuoles, where you can observe contractile vacuoles. Right. Then the last one, name two functions of vacuoles. Name two functions of vacuoles. Right. So if you don't have space, you need to add other endoplasmic reticulum two questions. What is the function of rough endoplasmic reticulum? What is the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum at the bottom? Right. So those two questions. Right. So you need to complete answers for these questions before Saturday next class. So Saturday morning, at least Saturday morning, you need to send me the PDF of your note today, right? So every week you need to do that. So Chilhan, I think you missed that. Biduni, and whereon they send me the note, just quickly cam scanning it, just send me the PDF or send කරන්න WhatsApp. Then I can, because I can't see you, whether I don't know whether you're writing or you're not, or listening or what happened. Then I can confirm that you will engage with my lesson with the note. So complete your note and send me before Saturday. Okay. So 10:44, it's time 10:45 we can finish. So okay, Saturday we meet at same time 8 p.m. to 10:30, ready with class book. And yeah, and ready for the monthly test next week. Next Monday or Saturday. Thursday you can write. Okay. So we'll finish and good night for you all. Okay. So bye bye.